Welcome to Module 10, and in this particular module we're going to talk about formatting your worksheets, and there's a lot for us to talk about in this particular module. The formatting is basically when you're taking the information that you've typed into your cells and you're making them look nice. When we talk about making borders and put shading, and when we talk about we want our column headings to be bold and we want our numbers to have dollar signs, all that's considered formatting. And we're going to have different areas of formatting. You're going to have formatting you can do with the cells, and you're going to have formatting you can do with the numbers. Let's go ahead and start off with formatting cells, and then we'll go into formatting numbers right after that. When we look at this particular exercise, you'll notice that nothing actually stands out. We can see that this is the title for the entire page. We can see that we've got some column headings here and some row headings, but nothing really stands out. We don't even know if the numbers represent dollars or if they represent individual numbers. So we're going to go in and make this look a little bit nicer so that we can draw our eye to the things that are important in this particular file. Let's go ahead and start with our title. I'm going to click in B2 because all of this is in B2. And here's some really basic things you can do to change the formatting. Let's start with this font grouping right here. Right here where you see this word Arial, if you click the drop-down list, you're going to see a list of different fonts that you could use. Fonts are just different ways the letters look. Sometimes you get cursive writing, sometimes you get more space between the letters, and you can see that as you move your mouse across these different fonts, that it gives you a little preview of what they look like in the background there. You could use any of these that you like. You can also go on the internet and just find all kinds of fonts and just pull them in and use those as well. I've picked a font called Algerian for this title. The next thing I want to point out is the size, and that's where you see this 10. Typically, you're going to find that most letters or most generic spreadsheets will start out with their text or numbers in size 12. In the olden days, everything was size 10 automatically. You'll see in the newer versions that 11 is the default number, and the default font, by the way, is usually called Calibri. Again, I can choose any size that I'd like my text to be right here. You'll notice this list goes 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then it counts by twos, goes all the way down to 72. Little piece of trivia, 72 points is equivalent to 1 printed inch. What if you want a number that's not on this list? Let's say you wanted 15, for example. All you have to do is type it right up here. You can see the 10 is selected. If I type 15 and hit the enter key, then I've got that size. If you wanted a size and you don't know exactly what number to choose, you can use these two arrows here that increase by 1 on the list or decrease your font size by 1 on the list. So any of that's going to work to help get you the size that you're looking for. Underneath we have B for bold. You just turn that on or off. We have I for italics, and we have U for underline. When you're underlining, I want you to notice you're underlining the text or numbers that are in the cell, not the actual cell itself. You also have a drop-down arrow because you can do a straight underline or a double underline here if that's what you want to do. If you don't want the underline at all, you can just turn it off. Now we'll come back to these two a little bit later. Let's go over here to your font color. Your actual text or numbers can be any color that you'd like them to be, and you can see there are tons of different colors to pick from. Let's say you pick a color and it's not exactly the color you'd like. I want you to notice that there is an option for more colors right here. When you go into the more colors option, you're going to have a standard tab and a custom tab. On the standard tab, you have additional colors that you might want to choose from. Under the Custom tab, you can create your own color. The way this works is you generally know ahead of time that you're looking for a blue or a purple or a green, and notice if you move your mouse throughout these colors that you're actually changing all of the colors down here, and there's an arrow in this bar that you can point to the exact new color you want and then click OK. The last color that you chose will be right here, so if you want to use it again, you could, but I'm going to go back and actually pick this dark blue color. The next thing I want to talk to you about is the fact that you can actually do some of the same things with this information down here. Now there's going to be additional options when you click this little arrow on the bottom right of your font grouping. Let's see what's here that we didn't have a button for. The first thing I want you to notice is that when you're on the font grouping and you click the arrow, you're in this option called Format Cells. Notice that it puts you directly on the Font tab. If you happen to be on this alignment grouping here and you clicked this arrow, you would be in the Format Cells. You would just be on the Alignment tab, and the same thing with Number over here. There's a few of them that you can't get to without coming into one of these, and that's the border and the fill, and we're going to talk about these here in a few minutes. But right now, if I look at the font options, we could change our fonts back here, same thing. Here's our bold and italics that we see right here. Here's your font sizes, so nothing new yet. Let's check out underlining. From here, we were able to pick a single or double underline, and we can still do that, but we also have the option to pick single accounting or double accounting here as well. Here's our color options. And then here's a few options you did not have buttons for. Strike through, and that's when you strike through your text like this. Typically you'll see that in a legal document because you don't want to delete the old information. They'll usually strike through the old information and put the new information to the right of it. And to tell you what super and subscript are, superscript would be when you type something like Mattel Toys and you have the little trademark, the little TM that's kind of up above, that's called superscript. And subscript would be if you have H2O where the 2 is down below, they call that subscript. You might notice that when you're typing your text in, you're in the center, or it looks like you're in the center, I should say, of each of your rows. You're actually on the bottom. You'll see that here in a moment. But the superscript puts your text up and the subscript puts your text down. So not too many new options there. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And now you can see what we've got so far. Let's take some of this information here and make it stand out. We'll take the word name and make it bold. We'll actually make these bold as well since these are our column headings. And these down here, let's go ahead and italicize those. Now there's one more thing I want to do with these. I want to skip over to this alignment grouping here real quick. Do you see these two right here? Increase or decrease indent. If I increase indent, it's like indenting within a cell. And it's a quick way to make something like this stand out from the word name right above it. The rest of these are your alignment options, and let's talk a little bit about these. Right now, when you look at January through April, you'll notice the text looks like it's lined up on the right side of each of these cells. If I make these a little bit wider, you'll actually see what I'm talking about here. Let's say you want to put these in the center. You're going to use these three buttons here to left align, center, or right align the text within the cell. I'd like these centered, and I'm going to center totals as well. These up here have to do with aligning the text up and down within the cells. Let me just show you something I mentioned a few moments ago. Let's say that for the months of the year, I want to make row 4 a little bit wider. If I put my mouse on the line that separates the 4 and the 5 like this, I can actually drag down and make that row wider. And you can see you're actually typing the text on the bottom of that particular cell. Well, if I select these and then change this to the middle align option, now you'll see they're centered up and down. You can actually use this orientation button to actually rotate your text at an angle. I can use counterclockwise. I might use angle clockwise. There's a couple that let you take the text and vertically put it in your cells. And obviously if you were going to do this, you'd have to make the row a lot wider like this so you could see it. You've also got options up here with the orientation to rotate the text down. I'll go ahead and choose angle counterclockwise, and then I'll make the row a little bit wider so we can see it all. You can see it's starting to get a little bit of formatting, so things are starting to stand out a little bit. Let's go ahead and look over at part 2 of formatting cells, and I'll continue to show you some of the options you have when it comes to formatting.